Hello, everyone. I'm Blayne Gilmer. Welcome to Southeastern 14, where we cover SEC sports daily. We're in the throes of football season right now. Games have not started, but man, is the excitement there. Fall camp is alive and well, and week 0 games are right around the corner. Heck, we'll have Florida and Utah playing each other in a week 1 game August 31st. So this month, we're going to have football here. But today we are here to talk about the Alabama Crimson Tide. Listen, Alabama during Nick Saban's tenure has become the standard. I know Georgia has won back-to-back national championships, but Alabama is the program that everybody measures themselves against. When you have the amount of consistent success that Nick Saban has, then you are the mark, the standard. I had a coach one time, and when I was playing, say the true measure of greatness is consistency. Even on what was a quote unquote down year last year, Alabama was 2 plays away from a undefeated season. So, and then, I know you're going to have people play devil's advocate, say, well, they were also another couple of plays away from it being a 3, 4, 5 loss season. Yes, I know they played some close games. It was not your typical Alabama dominant season last year, but they're looking to make some changes and have made changes that I think are a mentality shift that you're going to see out of Alabama. We know that Tommy Rees wasn't necessarily the biggest name that you could have brought in terms of offensive coordinator wise. Yes, they wanted to go out and get a few different guys maybe before him, but what Tommy Rees does bring in is, like I said, that mentality shift, particularly when it comes to running the football and being physical at the point of attack on the line of scrimmage. That is something that Nick Saban has admitted in the offseason that, hey, Alabama became a little bit too pass happy at times with Bill O'Brien at offensive coordinator and became too Bryce centric, he said, with Bryce Young at the helm. And that's easy to do when, as great as Bryce Young was, that, hey, we're just going to depend on that young man to use the special God-given talents that he has to kind of pull us out of the fire and be able to do some special things when we need it. And sometimes that makes your defense suffer even when they're not facing enough downhill in your face run at practice every day. Well, Tyler Booker, offensive lineman that's going to be starting this year for Alabama, came out earlier this week in a press conference and really, really just laid it out there of what Alabama is looking to be this year. And understand this, okay? In programs like Alabama and Georgia, there is no player that speaks to the media that Nick Saban and Kirby Smart do not know with 100% clarity are going to speak the company line, are going to go out there and give answers that are going to represent the program in the best light possible, but also they put players out there in front of the media that they know are going to embody and represent what they have been preaching to those players and emphasizing to their players on the team over at the start of fall camp, over the entire offseason. And you can really tell these comments here that Tyler Booker said for Alabama. He said, we want to make people quit this year, and there's no better way to do that rather than to run the football. So we're going to run the ball this year. We're going to pass the ball as well because we have a lot of talented guys at receiver and we have a lot of guys who can throw the ball well, but just having a run-first mentality at the offensive line, that just gets us going because we want to make people quit. I also mentioned being physically dominating, intimidating. Listen, that is a little bit different shift of how things have been from Alabama. That is a welcome throwback to the past if you're an Alabama fan, because when you go back and look at some of those teams back in 2009 when you had Mark Ingram and Trent Richardson at running back, the quarterback wasn't the focal point of it. Yes, Greg McElroy had an efficient year, 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions when they went 14-0 back in 2009. And then in 2008, back then, John Parker Wilson, 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, only 7 yards an attempt, but they had Glenn Coffey run for almost 6 yards a carry and Mark Ingram over 5 yards a carry that year. So I think people talk about this quarterback battle a lot, but can they just find out of this group? Now, you get a little bit of a step up with A.J. McCarron as things came along there and look, A.J. McCarron's still playing, so a great player, but obviously not the level of the quarterback play that they had even with Jalen Hurts was a little bit more of a hybrid, going to run and throw type guy. But once it became Tua coming in there, once it became Mac Jones and how talented he was at throwing the football when it came his turn and those receivers around him, and then, of course, Bryce Young, a little bit of shift came into the program of being able to, and then Lane Kiffin being able to kind of open up that offense for Nick Saban. It became a little bit more dependent on winning that kind of way, not being able to just line up and say, hey, we're going to run the football when we want to do that. Alabama has the talent to do that this year at the running back position with Justice Haynes coming in there, and he's going to be a back that can do a little bit of everything. Of course, Jason McClellan has waited his turn to really be that lead back type guy for Alabama. He's dynamic. He can catch the ball out of the backfield as well, but we've seen him be able to break long runs. Look at the Texas game last year. I think that when you have the mix of a McClellan, a Roydell Williams, a Justice Haynes, and then people aren't really talking much about Richard Young right now as a freshman. Does he get into the mix and be able to add in some carries and things of that nature? But you look at that offensive line and you look at what Alabama has. They have big guys who are highly recruited, and now they're going to be, instead of every play, looking to go backwards first and getting a pass set and figure out what kind of protection they're in and how's the best way to protect Bryce. It sounds from what Tyler Booker is saying that they're going to be a little bit of a forward lean, ready to have that advantage, come off the ball, and really establish dominance, whether that's with the duo run concept, whether that's the power concept or more gap scheme, or they're just getting in your face and running zone at you. Tommy Rees is going to help establish that physicality there, and you can tell they have guys like Tyler Booker believing. Alabama has LSU at home this year, so I think that LSU has done nothing but gotten better. So I think Alabama is also going to need to be better to beat them, but they've got big games at home this year. Alabama does, and they should be. And you see from this quote, they should have a chip on their shoulder and a change in scheme that is not only going to help Tommy Rees and whoever the quarterback is be able to move the football. I think the way that they're going to practice, especially through fall camp, with this good on good and with this trying to establish the run on offense, it's going to make Kevin Steele's defense even better. And this defense is absolutely loaded from front to back, whether it's Dallas Turner all the way back to Caleb Downs and adding Tresman Marshall there in the middle on defense. Of course, we know what they have up front with Jaheim Otis and Tim Smith, those kind of guys. They've added some guys in the transfer portal, like I said, Tresman Marshall, Justin Jefferson at middle linebackers, and Deontay Lawson, Jihad Campbell. All of these guys, it's their time, ready to step up. Yes, they've got some questions at corner. Who ends up being the other guy? What is it? Is it Trey Amos or is it Terrion Arnold across from Kool-Aid McKinstry on the other side? But I think overall, you're going to see that defense benefit from the downhill running ability that Alabama is going to have in practice, even against them. And that's going to make Kevin Steele's defense that much better. Guys, give us your comments. Tell us what you think. This is one reason I think Alabama is going to be tough to deal with when it comes to the 2023 season. A shift in mentality, back to bully ball for Nick Saban, and this is right in his wheelhouse, what he wants. Let us know your comments. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We will be previewing every single SEC game this year. Myself, Chris Lee, Blake Lovell. We will also be responding to any kind of news out there. We've got SEC basketball coverage coming up as well. Everything you want right here, daily coverage of the SEC. For Chris Lee and Blake Lovell, I am Blayne Gilmer, and we'll catch you guys next time on Southeastern 14.